Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you once again for being with us here on Wixie Classic 99.1 and your region's Ag Force from the Farm Progress Show. The three most exciting days in agriculture right here in Decatur, and it's truly exciting to be with you and you being with us all the way throughout the day. And I have a special friend and a guest with me during this segment. He's the president and CEO of Farm Credit Services in Mahomet. His name is Dave Owens. Dave, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you again. This show gets bigger and bigger, I think, every time I come to it.
It does, it does. And Dave, I'm just going to jump right into the middle of things. We can chit-chat about the expansive machinery and the technology lineups here at the Farm Progress Show. But I guess more importantly, Dave, I want to make sure that we share with people that probably everybody knows. They hear it from me all the time. But what Farm Credit is basically providing that financial credit and insurance needs for today's farmers.
Farm Credit is a unique business, as you know. It starts with, it's a cooperative, and so everybody that borrows and uses services from Farm Credit is also a stockholder. They elect a board of directors, and those board of directors are my boss. That makes a big difference when you compare our structure and ownership to like a commercial bank.
Well, Dave, another thing that is really being an asset and a further asset of Farm Credit is, of course, the operation sizes today also represents a huge amount of capital necessary. Farm Credit can handle those and always have been able to handle the credit and financial needs of the American farmer today.
We're very fortunate to have enough scale to be able to do that. This business has been growing leaps and bounds. Over the last 10 years, it's about tripled in size. Gone from about $900 million to just under $3 billion now. And so that gives us a large enough capital base that we can handle large lines of credit. Plus, as you know, the Farm Credit of Illinois is part of the system. And so we have really excellent participation partners in those cases where the line of credit demand is even larger than we can handle.
Absolutely. Dave, I know that we've seen in our specific area, in your service area, basically the southern two-thirds of the state of Illinois, in your 60 counties, the market value of land continuing to ratchet up. However, that being said, Farm Credit still side by side, understanding what the farmers' needs are.
Farmland values are hot, almost as hot as it is here in the tent today, Gail. The good farms, we've seen those values go from 6,000 maybe a couple of years ago to 8,000 last year. Now 10,000 is pretty routine sale, and a lot of people get concerned about is there a bubble developing in farm real estate values? We get questions about that all the time, and if you look at the factors that affect farmland value, those prices today are reasonable for those factors. Farm earnings are very good, record. Interest rates are record lows. Those are two great big things that impact farm values. One concern we have is sustainability. How long will the commodity prices stay at this level? How long will the input prices stay about where they are? How long will interest rates remain this low? And the first two things, you might argue, we're in a different era, and those things are going to be good for a long, long time. Interest rates, however, we don't think so. And they're as low as they're going to get. Eventually, the economy will turn around. The Fed will start, tightening instead of easing. And we think the interest rates will go up. And actually, a 1% increase in interest rates takes a pretty healthy hit on the value of a piece of real estate.
Well, all of that is so very important, but Dave, I'm going to go back to the fact that the guys that in the offices that serve our farmers, that truly, as your slogan mentions, you understand what's going on down on the farm, and you put the financial and the fiscal responsibility behind it in order to serve those needs. And Dave, we really appreciate that about Farm Credit, and I certainly appreciate you understand how hot it is here in this media tent today, Dave.
I've been here just for a few interviews, and it is really warm. The point you're making, though, I mentioned earlier about the ownership structure, it starts there. But then we do nothing but agriculture, nothing but farm loans. So the specialization gets to be very, very good over time. The Farm Credit system itself is highly specialized. We fund through bonds. Those bonds are sold through a Farm Credit entity in New Jersey. Those dollars then go to an agricultural bank. Ours is up in St. Paul, Minnesota. They do asset liability management for us. A very specialized group of people do that. Our job is delivering that credit to the local farmer, and we do a great job with that. We try to hire farmers to work for us. We like to go to the farm, sit down with the operator, and just get to know them. find out what their plans and their dreams are, and in that way become very close to them. And we understand. When we say we understand, we do understand not only the farming operation, we get to understand each one of them individually.
Another thing I think is important to all of us in the industry, there's a word that's been thrown around the last 2 or 3 years, and that's transparency. From the bonds being sold and where they go, it all is transparent right down to the line when they borrow that few capital dollars that they need from Farm Credit.
It really doesn't get any better than that, does it?
No.
The bond sales, you can go to the Wall Street and see what we have for our cost of funds. Our operating costs are very low here, less than 1%. That's more efficient than many other lenders would. They'd be envious to have that. And we pass those benefits on to our owners, our customers and owners.
Dave, it's certainly been a pleasure to once again get a chance to visit with you. And even folks, before we started the interview, he did make sure that he wasn't going to call me Glenn, but that's not a curse word at all in the Cunningham family at all. Dave Owens, thank you so much for joining us today at Farm Progress.
Gail, thank you very much for having me.
Dave Owens from Farm Credit. I'm Gail Cunningham here on Wixie Classic 99.1 and your region's Ag Force.